Hi guys, I am somebody here who just likes to rant and rave about really about anything. I like to talk about spirituality. I like to talk about current affairs and politics. And I am really into discussing the current systems that our society and everything has, and to see if it's all worthwhile, and to see if it's something that we've constructed that is even really necessary. So, that's just, I guess, what this channel is going to be about. It's just about random stuff and random ranting and ravings about things. Sometimes I get, what I feel like is really deep stuff. And then sometimes I just talk about anything, and maybe I'll even have like a drone video on or something like that, but just kind of a bunch of random stuff. So if this sounds like something that you like, then please hit like, hit subscribe, and follow my channel, and see what you guys think about it. Thanks.
To go into the whole conspiracy theories of what all is driving all of that too, not just the conspiracy theories behind the stolen election, but the ones that are being pushed by things like QAnon and all of our national spiritual leaders. Johnny Enlow, he's one big one that I could just go on and on about that guy. And then there's the other guy, what's his name? I don't know how anybody can take him serious, but he sold gold coins and anointed towels, and rags or whatever, handkerchiefs essentially, that were supposed to be anointed to help Donald Trump win the election. And he made ridiculous amounts of prophecies, so-called prophecies, over these elections, and none of which have come true. But people still somehow believe them, even though these predictions don't come true. I don't, I believe that people like that, these national big figures, and the people behind QAnon and people like that need to actually be held responsible and be held accountable. The people behind QAnon, I believe, should actually be locked up. And I believe people like Johnny Enlow need to step down from their platforms, and should be they should not have any type of say-so. They should not have any voice in this country anymore, because they have been so false and they have been so misleading that and that is not their First Amendment right. That is not what the First Amendment stands for. That is, if you think that is your First Amendment right, is to mislead the public and spread blatant lies. That these lies, some of these conspiracies and what they've been telling people have been happening, and the inside intel and scoops that they're supposed to be getting have to be blatant lies. They have to know it, and they are flat out blatantly lying, and they know it, because the claims that they're making there's just no way that they can be true. And they have been false so many times. When they talk about, I saw some fat dude on a camera, like me, I'm a little bit chubby here too, sitting there talking about how he has this inside intelligence coming from the military, because he had taught some of these prophetic classes in the military. And it was just like, whatever, dude. But anyways, he said he had this secret intel coming in, from these different sources. And because I have experience in the military, and I've even had a security clearance, I'm not saying that I had all this top secret information. I don't mean that, but I do know a little bit about how that works. That anybody who would be giving the type of information he was saying, that he had, anybody who would be giving that stuff away would be locked up underneath the jailhouse within a couple hours of spreading that garbage to somebody, because that's, if you have that type of information, top secret information, the leaders that have that are not going to spill that stuff to some Joe Schmo out there, because they would go to prison very, very quickly. And if you go and you put it on some place like YouTube or Facebook, and you expect the government to not get a hold of it, and if the government is that bad, they would know immediately who gave you that information. you would also be arrested, and that video would be taken down in a heartbeat. Um, and not to mention that the predictions and stuff that were made in there were just nonsense. They were comical. There's absolutely no reason why the government would ever go about trying to do something that way, and trying to say that Trump has the ability to call for martial law over this whole nation, and he can't do that. Like that is ridiculous. Donald Trump cannot declare martial law over this country, and if he would, there's enough people that would take that dude by that orange mop of his and throw him out of office so stinking quick. Okay, so I just wanted to jump in here real quick and talk about the martial law there and Trump not being able to declare martial law over the whole nation. And I think there's going to be people that push back and say, oh, yes, he can declare martial law. And what I'm saying is that the president could declare martial law in certain situations, like, if you have a big hurricane come through and level a city or whatever, he can declare martial law to get, order restored there or whatever. But what I'm talking about is for a president to declare martial law to lock the country down in order to remain in office. That right there would be treason, and I do really believe that would be the vast majority of, even military leaders would not allow a president to do something like that. And I actually don't think that he would actually have the power to do that to that extent, to declare martial law on that to that extent. So that is what I'm talking about. That is a quick disclaimer. If you disagree with that, that's fine, but I really don't think that the president would have any type of authority to do something like that. If he would try to do that, and that is an insurrection there. That is something that you would legitimately, at that point in time, I don't care what he is trying to do. If he would literally go and put America under military rule, I mean, once again, that is some Stalin era communist bullshit that is just simply, it's just false information. But people, mostly on the right, from where I come from, are just falling for this stuff, hook, line, and sinker, and they believe it wholeheartedly. And I believe they have made up their minds on who they believe they can trust, who supposedly has the inside information, and who has essentially fed them what they want to hear. And now when these people come out with these videos and these claims, and Nancy Pelosi's getting arrested for the 20th time now, Hillary Clinton is, the pedophile rings, they were talking about underground tunnels in Germany that were getting blown up, the United States Army was going into a German city to recover election fraud hardware stuff, and pedophile rings were being taken down for the 20th time as well, and literally underground tunnels being blown up. And I mean, the insanity of it all is just that. Like, it is insane, and people are believing it. That's the thing. That is the thing that gets me. Is that people are actually believing this bullshit. Okay, and I believe, for one, I mean, the people that are spreading that stuff, they need to be held accountable for it. And I mean serious legal ramifications, where I believe some of them need to end up in prison or something. I don't necessarily agree with our prison systems, but it is what we have right now. And if they have that ability to mess with people's minds and get them to believe that type of stuff, then at the very least their voice needs to be taken away on it, because once again, that is not their First Amendment right to be able to go and mislead the public. That is not what your First Amendment rights are for. And there are actually legal actions that you can take in our laws. And if we are going to be a democracy, and we're not going to be something like some third world country or something like that, then we actually do have to have a system of laws that we need to stick by and that we actually need to keep in place. Now, if you want to go and say democracy, doesn't work anymore. We need to set up a new style of government. You want to go in there, you want to, picket Washington, D.C., get the corruption out and rework our government and all of that kind of stuff to try to make it better, whatever. But if you're going to have a democracy, if you honestly actually stand for a democracy, and if that's what you want, then you have to have those system of laws and you have to abide by them. And if you want to have that democracy, you also cannot go in there and overthrow the government with the sole intent of putting your leader in place. Because at that very instant, as soon as you do that, you no longer have a president, you have a dictator, and you also no longer, at that instant, no longer have a democracy either. Democracy at that point is going to be gone. And even if you think you did it for the right reason, and it even can be for the right reason, if you one time get away with that in a society like America, then at some point in time, not far down the road, there's going to be somebody who does it for evil intentions, even if your intentions are right, which this time they're not right. Okay, let me just clarify that too, that the conservative Republican Party, conservative whatever movement, this Trump mania, these Trumpians, they're not, I hate to say it, this is a very bold claim, and I'm not saying they're not Christians, but they follow Trump more than they do Christ, if you want to actually talk about that part, but which is whatever. But anyways, they will literally, that this movement is not right. That I wholeheartedly condemn it. But and they take the government over and they put theirs in place. What are you going to say then? Like what it would literally lead to a civil war. Like it would lead to tremendous amounts of bloodshed. If that, I mean, my thing is that I believe that, even if you do that with Trump and he would allow another election cycle to happen after his 4 years and this, that, and the other thing, sometime down the road, somebody's going to do again because it was done before. And once it's been done once, you can just continue to do it over and over and over again. And that's not hard to imagine there, and that's not hard to see why that would be true. And I know that, honestly, in just these short videos, this is extremely hard to convey what is exactly what I'm feeling on these. I feel like I have to make a lot of these videos to really pick through them. But this whole thing is just nonsensical. This whole thing is absolutely ridiculous. And it is just a travesty what I see happening right now, and with close people, good people that are getting wrapped up in these conspiracies. The conspiracy theories, too, I think go a lot deeper than what a lot of Americans know. Out here in rural, and I mean, it's in the cities, too, like, don't get me wrong, but this is where I live, so I see it rampant out here. I think it's, it happens in, the suburbs and in inner cities as well, but the conspiracy theories that I see happening right now among the conservative Christians is really where this is coming from. The conspiracy theories that are coming out of it, I think, run so much deeper than what a lot of Americans even know they do. The people who are not inside those circles, most people know about QAnon and all that kind of stuff, but they don't know the driving factor behind even their local religious leaders, such as the coming out of our church. Our churches here, where I'm from, in rural Ohio, have went from being spiritual leaders to political leaders, and they are in on the conspiracy theories just like everybody else is. They're pushing them. Let's say they're pushing them just as well as everybody else is. They've given in to them, and now it's all the politics and the religion have become one and the same. So you now have your local religious leaders on top of all of these other people like QAnon and Johnny Enlow and those guys that are also pushing these conspiracy theories, and they're just literally working people up into a madhouse. And I want to see so many religious leaders lose their pulpits over this, because they have become dangerous. Because if this is allowed to continue, people are going to die, and there's going to be a lot of bloodshed if this continues, and it's going to be over some false bullshit. and it's going to be over a matter that isn't going to do anything. If we have anything that we want to stand up and protest and that we want to bring out and that we want to see justice done to, we can do it on a lot more important things than just who our president is, to try to get some dude in a suit up there as some figurehead in this country that in all honesty doesn't really, I don't think that they are the way that things have been going, I really don't think they're responsible to get a whole heck of a lot done. I think they're more of somebody to sit up there as a figurehead, and I don't know. I don't think that Trump could get half the stuff done that he says he's going to get done anyways. I don't think I don't even think he has the power to do it. But I believe that these people, all the way from local religious leaders to local elected officials to these, that are pushing this narrative and that are pushing this conspiracy stuff, they need to lose their pulpits. They need to lose their place of influence, because it is dangerous. It is seriously dangerous, and I don't believe that they know that it is. And I've even had people tell me that, well, if it does get proven to be false, they'll quit. And I'm like, no, by the time you find out that it was false, there are going to be people who have died. You're not thinking about seriously stop and think, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm pushing this stuff and I'm wrong? Have you considered what the ramifications would be with all of these conspiracy things, and you're getting people worked up and going down these bunny trails so far? And I know people personally, good people that I am legitimately concerned for, because they have gone so far down this rabbit hole that I don't think they can come back from it. I literally think that if Donald Trump would stand there and tell them that, hey guys, this whole thing was made up. I've been lying this whole time. The elections were not rigged. QAnon is false. All of these predictions made about me, they were all false. They were all a sham. I've been lying. I deserve to go to prison. I think a lot of them would come up and say, oh, they got to him. Oh, no, they got to him. I heard of too many dreams. I heard too many prophecies. The deep state got to him. This isn't even, it would go as far as to say, this isn't even Trump. This is his double or something. The real Donald Trump is in some underground place somewhere. I literally think they would not stop at any measure to, and you might think that sounds crazy, but right now there are people saying that when Nancy Pelosi comes out and speaks, it's not even her, it's her double. And these are the types of conspiracies that are going on. And I think that if Donald Trump himself would come out and say those things, that this has all been wrong, I don't even think they would listen to Trump anymore. And the evidence, if you actually step back and you actually look at the evidence and how he takes anybody who doesn't agree with him and throws them under the bus. I mean, he did it with Barr. The first time that I really started seeing something was actually shortly after Trump was elected. And this, let me tell you, the first time he was elected back in 2016, I actually voted for Trump. Okay, so, but shortly after he got elected and General Mattis left office, I was like, okay, I did not expect that. This was supposed to be the dream pair set there by God, Trump, Pence, Mattis, and, he had all these different people. It was just like, man, this is the dream team here. This is what America's been needing now for the last 100 years, And when Mattis left, I was like, something's not right here. And I didn't know what it was. I didn't, but it just peaked. I was just like, this is just not right. That his cabinet would start falling apart within just not a very long time of being in office, and then the other people that started dropping out. There have been congressmen and women that have dropped out along the way here, and then even Barr, just saying, hey guys, it's over, we lost this thing, whatever. He was one of Trump's biggest supporters over the years, and he comes out and says that, and immediately people are literally wanting to make death threats against him. Trump asked Pence to overturn the elections, which he didn't even have power to do. Pence literally couldn't have done anything if he would have wanted to, which is another reason why Trump himself is also blatantly lying, because he knows Pence can't do anything about it. He knows. He's been calling other elected officials. I think it was the governor of Georgia or whoever it was that he actually called them. And it was like, hey guys, I need so and so many votes, and he was literally asking them to tamper with it and to give him votes, and he was making threats that these people who he was talking to will tell you that he was making threats to them, saying that this is not good for you to do this if you don't help me overturn these elections, essentially. And so these allegations that he's been making and saying, hey, these people can do it, they're just not, they're afraid to stand up. Those are blatant lies, and Trump knows it. Trump knows it. Trump knows that they can't do it. So that is not even within their legal jurisdiction to be able to do that. I mean, if people, even in Congress, if all of Congress could literally come together and just decide that these votes were illegitimate, that would still be giving too much power to them, and that still would not be a democracy, because these things still have to be taken through the courts and done in a legal process. And they can't just sit there and decide that these votes are illegitimate and disenfranchise millions and millions of people in this country. And they don't even have that authority. And the fact that Trump knows that and says that they still have that authority, and he wants to cast blame on people for not doing it, lets me know that he has anything but sincere intentions for trying to become the getting into that second election. I legitimately feel at this point in time that Trump has become a big, big crook. I really believe that he is the worst thing that could possibly happen to our country right now, for him to stay in office. And I know people, especially people who know me, are going to probably almost lose their minds if they hear me say that. But at this point in time, I think he is the biggest enemy to America and to the American people at this point in time, because it has all come down to whether he can win these elections or not. And it's all about him. He doesn't give a rip about you. He doesn't give a rip about me. I don't even really think he cares about America. I think he cares about himself and getting himself placed back into office again. And where he would go from there, I don't know, but I don't think it would be good. But I just really, really hope that people can take a step back and take a look at what's going on right now, and look at it through honest eyes and through an honest heart, and really gauge what's going on. And I have a problem. So that's it for me, guys. If you like this, please hit like, hit subscribe, and that's what everybody asks you to do, right? And I know I sound boring as shit on this video. I'm listening to myself. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm going to have to try to get better at it, and hopefully I can actually fix that, and where I'll be a little bit better to listen to, and hopefully I can also get some stuff out there that people actually want to listen to. And I kind of feel like some people would be interested in this type of stuff, so if that is you, then by all means I ask that you subscribe and hit the like button. But hopefully I will have some more interesting sounding videos coming up, to where I'm not just sitting there babbling slowly. I talk slow. That's what I'm realizing, and that does not make for good YouTube videos. But I'm trying, I'm trying. Give me a break.